All right, so I've been like really turning this over in my head lately, and I kind of want to toss it out there. Imagine, right? All the money in the world, like every last cent, every dollar, every euro, every yen, it's all just like in this massive pile. And then poof, like magic, it's divided up perfectly even. Every single person on Earth gets the same exact amount. Now, what happens next?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I have a sneaking suspicion things wouldn't stay equal for very long. And that kind of makes you wonder, like, what is it about money that makes it work that way? What are those forces at play?
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, that thought experiment really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? And the sources you sent over, they actually take this idea
Mm,
and they run with it in a pretty unexpected direction. Like they're saying that our relationship with money, it's way more than just like the numbers in our bank account or the bills in our wallet.
Yeah.
It's something deeper, something almost, dare I say, spiritual.
spiritual, huh? Yeah, I know that might sound a little out there for some folks, but stick with me for a second. We're not talking about some mystical money manifestation ritual here. What these sources are really getting at is why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others, no matter how hard they try, always seem to be struggling. So, put aside your budgeting apps and your investment spreadsheets for a minute.
Right, exactly. Because this deep dive, it's really about peeling back the layers and understanding the unseen forces, the beliefs, the mindsets that are shaping our financial reality. So let's get into some of the core ideas from the material.
Okay, so the first thing that really jumped out at me was this notion that money, at its core, isn't just like a physical thing, it's a form of energy. I know that might sound kind of abstract, but like, hear me out. Everything in the universe is energy, right? It's all vibrating at different frequencies. Even our thoughts, our emotions, they all have an energetic component. So, is it that far-fetched to think that money, which drives so much activity in our world, could also operate on this energetic level?
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective for sure. When you think about how money flows through the economy, it does kind of resemble other forms of energy. It's constantly moving, it's transforming, being exchanged. The source even mentioned this idea of a universal intelligence, like a force, and how money might actually be a part of this larger cosmic energy current. So instead of just looking at money as, just dollars and cents, it's like every time you spend money or earn money, it's actually an exchange of energy.
Hmm. And that kind of leads to another point that really stood out from the material, this idea that abundance, like true abundance, it's not something that we have to fight for. It's actually our natural state.
Hmm.
They use these really cool examples from nature, like apples, right? There's a tree just overflowing with apples, or like a school of fish just teeming in the ocean. It's like nature inherently operates from a place of surplus. So, if that's true, if abundance is all around us, why does it feel like scarcity is the default setting for so many people when it comes to money?
Right. I mean, it really makes you question some of those ingrained assumptions, doesn't it? If the natural world so clearly demonstrates abundance, then where does this sense of lack that we feel, where does that come from? And I think the source kind of points us in the direction of our own minds, our thoughts and our beliefs.
Which brings us to emotions, right? The source dives deep into this whole emotional side of money. And they make a really compelling case for how our feelings drive our spending habits. It's like we don't buy things simply because we need them, it's because of how they make us feel. Think about it, like that morning cup of coffee, it's not just about the caffeine, it's about the comfort, the ritual. Or that new phone you bought, it's not just about the technology, it's about staying connected, maybe feeling a little bit cooler. When you think about your own spending, do you see those emotional drivers at play?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think we all do to
Yeah.
some extent. And, tying that back to the whole money is energy thing, it's like our purchases, they aren't just transactions. They're exchanges of emotional energy, aren't they? Like what kind of vibe or feeling are we attaching to that purchase? The source even talks about like vibrations and signatures, like literally an imprint of our emotions on the money we spend.
And it's funny because even the way we talk about money sometimes, it kind of hints at this energetic understanding. Think about it. Making it rain, swimming in cash, drowning in debt. Those aren't just random expressions, are they? One of the sources even compares banks to riverbanks, like where this financial energy flows and collects. It's kind of a cool image.
It is. It's like our language, even without us realizing it, it reflects this idea that money is a force, a current that's constantly in motion.
Hmm.
Right. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. The source introduces this concept they call the inner game of income. The idea being that our internal world, like our beliefs, our mindset, all that stuff, it's actually way more influential in determining our financial success than any external strategy. It's like what's going on inside of us, it ends up showing up in our bank accounts. So, if you're constantly thinking, I'll never have enough, or rich people are all greedy, the source argues that's the kind of financial reality you're going to create for yourself. Why do you think this inner game is so important, so impactful?
It's like the foundation, isn't it? Like imagine you have a computer, right? And the software's all messed up. You can put in the best hardware, the fastest processor, but the computer's still going to be limited by that faulty software. Same with our finances. You can have all the right strategies, you can budget, invest, all of that. But if your underlying beliefs about money are negative or limited, it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, one of the sources, they use this analogy, and I love this. They say it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You can be super meticulous about your budget, but if you don't address those deep-seated beliefs about your ability to earn money, manage money, well, you might be missing the bigger picture.
Absolutely. The source really emphasizes that. It's about looking beyond the surface. And it contrasts those people who are constantly hustling but never seem to get ahead
Yeah.
versus those who approach money with a different mindset entirely, like a mindset of possibility of deserving.
Hmm. And that ties in perfectly with this idea of survival mode versus abundance mode, which the sources talk about. They describe the survival mode as being constantly in a state of worry about money, like always focused on just meeting your basic needs and driven by this deep fear of not having enough. I think, we've all been there at some point, right? That feeling of just like financial anxiety. What have you observed about how that survival mode thinking, how it affects people's decisions around money?
Well, when you're operating from that place of fear and scarcity, it's like a primal instinct kicks in.
Yeah.
Your brain is just laser focused on potential threats, just getting by, and that can really cloud your judgment. It makes it so hard to see opportunities, to think long term, to really build anything substantial.
But the real game changer, according to the material, is to shift your perception of money. Not just seeing it as a way to, avoid disaster, but as a tool for freedom, for joy, for creating the life you want. There's this powerful phrase they use: perception equals projection, meaning what you deeply believe about money, it's going to show up in your reality.
Yeah, that resonates with the whole idea of money as energy, doesn't it? Like your beliefs, they're almost acting like a magnet, attracting certain types of financial energy. If you're in that scarcity mindset, it's almost like you're pushing abundance away. But if you can cultivate that mindset of abundance, that's when things can really start to shift.
Okay, so the sources then go on to debunk what they call the lies we tell ourselves about poverty. And some of these were really eye-opening. Like the first one is poverty is normal. In some families, in some communities, financial hardship is just so common that it becomes almost accepted as the way things are. And the source argues that this can be incredibly limiting.
Yeah, it can become like this self-fulfilling prophecy, can't it?
Yeah.
When you grow up believing that financial struggles are just a part of life, you might not even consider the possibility of something different.
Right. And then there's this other one that I found particularly interesting, this idea that poverty is holier than wealth. This belief that somehow being poor is more virtuous, more spiritual.
Yeah, and the source kind of suggests that this idea has often been used to control people, to keep them content with very little. Like, if you associate poverty with righteousness, then striving for wealth starts to feel almost wrong, almost like you're betraying some kind of moral code.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's really powerful how those beliefs can impact our choices.
Okay, so here's another really interesting concept from the sources, and it kind of caught me off guard at first. They talk about how this deep human need for connection, for belonging, it can actually hold us back financially. It's what they call social contracts, these unspoken rules we follow to fit in, like the pressure to not outshine your friends or family, even if it means playing small and not going after what you truly want. Have you ever felt that kind of tension, between wanting to succeed but also wanting to stay connected to your social group?
Oh, yeah. It's like this ingrained survival instinct, right? We're hardwired to want to be part of the group, and standing out too much can feel really scary.
Mm.
So even if we have these big dreams, we might unconsciously hold ourselves back so we don't disrupt the balance of the group.
Hmm. So the source says that to really step into abundance, we have to be willing to break free from some of those social contracts, to be comfortable with being a little different, a little bit of an outlier.
And it's not easy, but it's about recognizing those patterns, those beliefs that might be holding you back, and making a conscious choice to prioritize your own growth.
Absolutely. And that leads us to this idea of our internal bank account, which the sources emphasize as being super crucial. This is about our inner sense of worthiness, our capacity to receive abundance. They bring up those lottery winners who end up losing all their money, suggesting that maybe their internal sense of deserving, their internal account, wasn't big enough to handle that sudden wealth.
It's like they won the external game, but maybe not the internal one.
Exactly. And the sources argue that lasting wealth, it starts from within. It's about cultivating those feelings of security, confidence, that deep knowing that you are worthy of abundance.
It's about aligning your inner world with your outer world. Like, if you don't truly believe you deserve wealth, you might unconsciously sabotage your own efforts.
And this brings us to the concept of the self-worth ceiling, which the sources talk about. This idea that our level of self-worth actually acts as a limit on how much abundance we can allow into our lives. It's like an invisible barrier. You can work hard, you can have the right skills, but if you don't believe at your core that you are worthy, it's going to be tough to break through that ceiling.
And it goes beyond just thinking you deserve it. It's about feeling it in your bones.
Yeah.
The source emphasizes this shift from, like, what if I fail, to what if I win? Like, really allowing yourself to visualize, to feel what it would be like to live that abundant life.
That's powerful. And the source ends on this really beautiful note, reminding us that every single person, every single one of us, we have inherent value. We have something unique to offer. They even call it a spark of the divine. And to believe anything less, to not see ourselves as worthy of abundance, it's like dimming our own light.
Mm. It all comes back to that self-worth, doesn't it?
It really does. So to kind of sum it all up for everyone listening, we've explored this really interesting concept of money as a form of energy, this idea that abundance is our natural state and how our emotions play a huge role in our financial decisions. We talked about the importance of that inner game of income, that shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, and all those limiting beliefs that can hold us back. And finally, we really dove into that essential connection between our self-worth and our financial reality.
And when you put all those pieces together, it really paints a new picture of money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about numbers. It's about energy. It's about our beliefs. It's about who we are at our core.
Absolutely. So here's a question for everyone to ponder as we wrap up. What's the story you've been telling yourself about money? Is it a story of lack, of struggle, of limitation? Or is it a story of possibility, of abundance, of unlimited potential? And if you could rewrite that story, what would it look like? What would your new money story be?
It's an invitation to become the author of your own financial journey.
Exactly. Because maybe, just maybe, changing that internal narrative, changing that story is the key to unlocking a whole new level of abundance in our lives.
Couldn't agree more.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it's given you some new insights and inspired you to look at your relationship with money in a whole new way.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep creating that abundant life you deserve.